It arrives not as a word, but as a physical sensation. A tightness in the chest, a cage of ribs closing around frantic lungs, a sinking in the gut, a leaden weight of impending failure. The moment the request leaves their lips, "Can you help me with this? Would you be able to?" And the word no forms, clean and simple in your mind. The guilt is already there, waiting. It's a preemptive strike against your own boundaries, a self-inflicted punishment for the crime of having a limit. For people who feel guilty for saying no, the simple declarative act of refusal feels like a moral failure. It's not just about declining a task, an invitation, a demand on your time. It's a visceral, terrifying fear that you are rejecting the person themselves, that you are letting them down, causing active disappointment, becoming a source of their pain or inconvenience. So the two-letter word gets stuck in the throat, heavy as a stone, and is often swallowed whole. It's almost always easier in that suffocating moment to say yes and endure the quiet resentment, the profound exhaustion, the slow erosion of your own time and spirit than to face the tidal wave of guilt that follows a single honest no. This isn't a simple lack of assertiveness, a skill that can be learned from a textbook. It's a deep psychological wiring, a faulty circuit in the soul that equates self-sacrifice with inherent goodness. Your worth, in this distorted internal equation, is measured purely by your usefulness, your availability, your compliance. To be unavailable is to be unvaluable. To set a limit is to risk being unlovable. Psychologists trace this back to what's called conditioned compliance. It often starts young, in the fertile ground of childhood. You learn, subtly or overtly, that love and approval are contingent on your agreeableness. The good child is the one who doesn't make waves, who helps without being asked, who is perceptive to the moods of adults and scrambles to soothe them, who puts others' needs first, always. Their identity becomes built on this fragile, exhausting foundation. I am good because I am helpful. I am loved because I am convenient. And so, no doesn't feel like setting a healthy boundary. It feels like a demolition of your very character. It's the terrifying fear that once the dust settles and you stop being useful, they will look at the empty space where your compliance used to be and finally see that there was nothing else of substance there to love. The aftermath of a successfully delivered no is its own unique punishment, a private hell of self-recrimination. The mind becomes a relentless, unforgiving courtroom long after the conversation has ended. You are the accused, the prosecutor, and the judge all at once. You replay the conversation frame by frame, analyzing their tone for a hint of coldness, their facial expression for a flicker of hurt or annoyance, the speed of their okay for evidence of concealed anger. Maybe I could have phrased it better. Maybe I should have just done it. It wouldn't have taken that long. They're probably angry with me now. I've damaged the relationship. This mental loop is a form of psychological self-flagellation, often more draining than the actual task you refused would have been. It's the internal cost of having betrayed your core programming. Your nervous system, conditioned over years to seek safety and connection through appeasement, interprets the no as a direct threat to that connection. The guilt is the blaring alarm bell. It's the body's ancient, panicked way of screaming, "Danger! You have jeopardized a relationship. You are at risk of being ostracized. return to compliance immediately. And so you are left in a cruel, inescapable paradox. Saying yes costs you your peace, time, and energy. Saying no costs you your peace, time, and energy through guilt. It feels like a game rigged so you can never win, a maze with no exit. The guilt, then, isn't just a passing emotion. It's a prison. It keeps you available, malleable, and perpetually tired. It ensures that your resources, your time, your emotional energy, your mental space are always on tap for others, leaving your own well perilously dry. You become a permanent guest in your own life, constantly rearranging your furniture, canceling your own plans, and silencing your own desires to make space for someone else's needs, all the while apologizing for the sheer inconvenience of your own existence. This guilt often wears the mask of empathy. You feel the needs of others so acutely, so vividly, that it morphs into your own responsibility. You see their disappointment before it even forms, and you rush to head it off. You feel their stress and absorb it as your own to solve. But this is empathy that has been weaponized against the self. It is an empathy that has forgotten to include the person in the mirror. True healthy compassion must have a boundary, otherwise it becomes self-annihilation. It must be able to look at someone in need and say, "I see your struggle and I care for you, but my resources are mine to give, not yours to take." Setting a boundary is not aggression or selfishness, it is a profound act of integrity. It is the clear, courageous line where your self ends and another begins. It is the foundation of every healthy relationship. Without it, relationships become enmeshed, codependent, and ultimately toxic, characterized by quiet resentment on one side and unwitting entitlement on the other. The path through the guilt is not to avoid it or to find clever ways to slip away from requests. It is to walk directly into the storm, to say no, clearly, kindly, without a rambling apology, and to feel the full, terrifying weight of the guilt descend, and to breathe through it anyway. You must prove to your own panicked nervous system that you can survive the discomfort, that the sky will not fall, that the relationship, if healthy, will not shatter. And if it does collapse under the weight of a single respectful no, then it wasn't a relationship. It was a demand wearing the mask of connection. Each time you choose your own limit over the fear of disappointing someone, you are not being selfish. You are performing delicate surgery on your identity. You are carving away the belief that you are only as valuable as your utility. You are building a new core truth. I am worthy of my own protection. My needs matter. My time is my own. The guilt won't vanish overnight. It will whisper and pull and try to drag you back into its familiar prison. But with each honored boundary, its voice fades. One day, you'll be in a situation, a request that once would have sent you spiraling, and you will feel the old tightness form in your chest. You will pause, you will take a breath, and the word no will leave your lips, clean and clear. No cascade of excuses, no apology overflowing into the silence. Just silence. And in that silence, you'll hear something new. Not guilt, not fear, but a quiet, steady hum. It is peace. It is the sound of coming home to yourself. It is the realization that a no spoken in truth is far more valuable than a yes spoken in fear. Your integrity is the most important promise you will ever keep, and it is a promise you make first to yourself. This journey from chronic guilt to empowered boundary setting is a reparenting of the soul. It is learning to give yourself the unconditional love and approval you once sought through compliance. It is becoming your own safe harbor so the storms of others' disappointment no longer threaten to capsize you. You begin to understand you are not responsible for managing the emotional reactions of adults. Their disappointment is theirs to process. Your responsibility is only this: communicate your limits with clarity and kindness. What they do with that information is their work, not yours. This separation is emotional freedom.
It also requires a radical redefinition of what it means to be good. The old definition was a trap. Good equals self-sacrificing. The new definition is liberating. Good equals authentic, respectful, compassionate, including to yourself. Sometimes the most compassionate thing you can do is say no. It preserves the relationship from resentment. It allows you to show up fully when you do say yes. It models self-respect for others. Your no is not a wall, it is the gate that protects the real yes. And that yes, given freely instead of fearfully, is the only one that creates genuine connection, creativity, and love. It is the yes that changes everything.